Before we delve into the intricacies of Sufism and its impact on Rumi's poetry, it's essential to understand the man behind the words. Born in 1207 in present-day Afghanistan, Jalal al-Din Rumi grew up in a highly spiritual environment. He was initially trained as an Islamic scholar and jurist. However, Rumi's life and poetry were dramatically transformed when he met Shams of Tabriz, a wandering mystic and Sufi dervish. This encounter sparked a profound spiritual awakening within Rumi, leading him to explore the deeper aspects of existence and human connection through poetry. Shams' influence was pivotal in Rumi's embrace of Sufism, a mystical tradition within Islam that focuses on experiencing God directly through the heart and soul, rather than intellectual reasoning alone. Sufism, often referred to as the mystical heart of Islam, seeks to achieve direct communion with God through practices like whirling, chanting, remembrance, dhikr, and, most importantly, an intense devotion to love and beauty. In contrast to the external rituals of religion, Sufism emphasizes inner transformation, the purification of the heart, and the ultimate unity with the divine. The core idea behind Sufism is that God is not distant and separate from us, but can be found in every moment, every breath, and every expression of love. It is through love, in fact, that the Sufi practitioner hopes to experience God's presence, an experience Rumi describes in his poetry as a profound spiritual intoxication. It's clear that Sufism played a pivotal role in shaping Rumi's worldview. Let's break down how Sufism's core principles are reflected in Rumi's works. 1. The quest for divine union. At the heart of Rumi's poetry lies the desire for divine union, the yearning to return to God, to experience oneness with the divine. This longing is a central tenet of Sufism, which teaches that our ultimate purpose is to experience unity with God, known as Tawhid. In Rumi's poetry, the relationship between the lover and the beloved is symbolic of the human soul's relationship with God. Rumi's work is filled with imagery of longing and separation, where the soul searches for God, not as an abstract deity, but as an intimate lover. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. Rumi. This metaphor expresses the Sufi idea that while we appear to be separate, we are, in fact, intimately connected to the divine essence. In Sufism, this search for unity is not just intellectual, it is emotional and spiritual, which is why Rumi's poetry resonates so deeply with readers today. 2. The role of love in spiritual awakening. Rumi's poems are drenched in the language of love, and for a good reason. In Sufism, love is seen as the most powerful force that connects human beings to God. Love is the bridge between you and everything. Rumi. In Sufism, divine love is not merely a personal feeling, but a force that purifies the soul, removes the ego, and creates space for God's presence to enter. Rumi's poetry conveys this love as something that transforms, something that overwhelms the individual, tearing down the walls between the self and the divine. The Sufi path is often called the path of love, where the soul is intoxicated with the love of God. This love is so powerful that it recreates the soul, breaking it down and building it up in the image of the divine. Rumi's famous metaphor of the beloved and the lover reflects this idea. The lover, the seeker, is forever searching, yearning for union with the beloved, the divine. 3. The mystical experience. One of the most important aspects of Sufism is the mystical experience, that direct, personal encounter with the divine that transcends the intellect. For Rumi, this experience was one of ecstasy and intoxication. He uses the image of the whirling dervish, the famous Sufi dance, to describe this spiritual journey. As the dervishes whirl in a circle, they are symbolically returning to the divine source, consumed by the love of God. In his poetry, Rumi describes moments of divine ecstasy, those fleeting yet profound experiences when the soul is overcome with the presence of the divine. These moments of ecstatic union are a hallmark of the Sufi path and are central to Rumi's spiritual teachings. I am not this body, I am not this mind. I am the soul, the eternal one. Rumi. This mystical experience of divine union goes beyond words or rational understanding. It is felt in the heart, in the soul, and in the body. It's not something that can be explained, only experienced, and Rumi's poems express this experience in a way that resonates with anyone seeking transcendence. 4. The search for the self and the annihilation of the ego, Fana. Another central tenet of Sufism that deeply influenced Rumi's work is the idea of self-annihilation, or Fana. In Sufism, this concept refers to the idea that in order to experience union with God, the individual self, the ego, must disappear. The ego is seen as the barrier that prevents the soul from recognizing its true nature, which is divine. In his poetry, Rumi describes the dissolution of the self as a necessary step in the spiritual journey. Surrendering the ego allows the seeker to experience God's presence directly. Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in new form. Rumi. This process of self-liberation, of letting go of attachments and illusions, is a core theme in Sufism. It is only when we let go of the ego that we can merge with the divine, and Rumi's poetry often illustrates this process through the metaphor of the beloved. The lover must surrender entirely, losing the self to find true union. The mystical journey Rumi describes in his poetry is one that transcends time, place, and even religious tradition. The teachings of Sufism offer a universal path of spiritual awakening, and Rumi's poetry is a living testament to this path. While Rumi's poems were deeply rooted in his Sufi beliefs, his work resonates with people from all walks of life and religious backgrounds. His ability to weave together mysticism, love, and spirituality into accessible and soul-stirring verses has made him one of the most influential poets in the world. Rumi's legacy lives on because his poetry speaks to the universal human experience, the longing for truth, the search for God, and the transformative power of love. His message is timeless, reminding us that the path to spiritual awakening is not just about intellectual understanding, but about an emotional, spiritual journey, one that transcends the self and seeks union with the divine. Rumi's influence, thanks to Sufism, continues to reverberate across cultures, generations, and religious traditions, reminding us that at the core of our being, we all share the same longing for love, unity, and truth. His poetry doesn't just speak of mystical experiences. It invites us to experience them, to feel them, to live them in our daily lives. While Rumi's poetry is firmly grounded in Sufism, his message extends far beyond the boundaries of any one faith or practice. Sufism, with its emphasis on the inner experience of love, union, and divine presence, offers a universal path for anyone seeking to connect with the divine. For Rumi, the journey toward enlightenment was never about following dogma, but about the personal experience of God through love, surrender, and self-purification. His poetry offers a blueprint for those looking to deepen their connection to themselves, to others, and to the divine. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi. This quote exemplifies Rumi's belief that the spiritual journey involves transformation, that even our pain and suffering can become a source of growth and enlightenment. In Sufism, the notion of divine love extends even into suffering, viewing it as a way to purify the soul and prepare it for the divine union. Rumi's poetry has experienced a resurgence in the modern world, with his works being translated into numerous languages and embraced by people of all backgrounds. Why does Rumi's mysticism, rooted in Sufism, continue to inspire millions today? At a time when the world is often divided by ideology, faith, and cultural differences, Rumi's message of unity, love, and spiritual awakening speaks to our shared humanity. His works invite us to look beyond the surface of external identities and find common ground in our deeper, spiritual essence. Furthermore, in an era dominated by technology, fast-paced living, and materialism, Rumi's poetry provides a calming refuge, a reminder to return to the inner stillness, to the mystical space within us all. In his verses, we are invited to feel the presence of the divine in our lives, to cultivate the love and devotion that can heal not only the individual, but also the world. Rumi's Sufi-inspired teachings encourage us to look inward, to explore the mystical realms of the heart, and to surrender to the divine love that is always within our reach. His poetry is a call to return to our essential nature, to embrace our spirituality without boundaries, and to live with a sense of deep connection, both to ourselves and to the world around us. The profound influence of Sufism and Rumi's work offers us an alternative to the conventional ways of seeking meaning and understanding. Instead of relying solely on intellectual analysis or external validation, Sufi mysticism invites us to turn inward, to seek the divine through direct experience and personal transformation. For Rumi, the highest expression of love, spirituality, and truth lies in surrendering the ego, embracing divine love, and uniting with the divine essence. It is through love, not logic, that the soul can be awakened and transformed. Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray. Rumi. As we immerse ourselves in Rumi's poetry, we are invited to surrender the self, embrace the divine love that binds us all, and open our hearts to the mystical path of transformation. The legacy of Rumi is not just a collection of beautiful poems. It's a call to action for us to embark on our own spiritual journeys, to love deeply, and to experience the divine presence that is within and around us. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Sufism's profound influence on Rumi's poetry. If you found this journey into the mystical world of Rumi inspiring and thought-provoking, we would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Rumi's mystical world, and if you're hungry for more explorations of timeless wisdom and spiritual awakening, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our next journey. At The Unfolding Journey, we continue to explore these ancient teachings that hold the power to transform your life. Let's continue walking this mystical path together.